Hey everybody, it's TF. Now welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be of the Mezco 112 Collective Dr. Fate figure. So I've been pretty critical of Mezco in the past. I used to have a video on the channel called the Mezco Toys Rant, which I will do a re-upload soon. Not until I write a follow-up video, and then I have those back-to-back as I need to address some things in that video. In that video, basically, I said I don't really want to collect Mezco toys anymore, but I am making an exception because we don't have very many good Dr. Fate figures. There's very many Dr. Fate figures at all. I think McFarlane Toys is about to make the Injustice versions. That's cool, but this one looks like probably the best 112 scale Dr. Fate to date. So I had to order it. I got it from ToyShnip, which is an online retailer, and I missed the pre-order for this guy, and this is a very hot commodity right now for a lot of collectors. So let's go ahead and just talk about the packaging. It's actually different from standard Mezcos that I am familiar with. It's just a complete cardboard box here, whereas it used to be like a sleeve and whatnot where you would remove it and then there's a whole nother layer to it. But this front and back is just going to have the Dr. Fate illustration right there. It's a very nice artwork right there. It does say 112 Collective pose plate display in the top left. On this side, which is going to be the same for the other side, it says Dr. Fate, and it's just this light blue with this yellow logo right there. And then you can see Mezco Toys by collectors, for collectors. The top just says 112 Collective pose plate display in yellow, and then a blue backdrop for that. And then it's ages 18 and up. It says MezcoToys.com. And then DC Warner Brothers, a barcode in case you need it, which you're not going to really need. You're not going to find it in stores. And then this is what the plastic part of the packaging looks like, covering the whole figure. So let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. So here is Dr. Fate out of the packaging, and yeah, I got to admit, it's spectacular. They did an absolutely fantastic job with this figure. It's not super big, but the biggest complaint I have with this figure, I'll go ahead and say it, is that the head articulation is hindered because of the light up feature, which we're going to talk about everything in a quick second. This review is going to be a while, so I'm just going to go straight into the accessories, then we'll talk about the figure. So just look at the spread that you get with this figure. Tons of different effects, alternate parts, and some display options. First and foremost, though, this is an instruction booklet on how to use the little, pretty much how to do the light up feature and then how to properly insert the batteries. Definitely take a look at this. You're going to want to. Lots and lots of great stuff here. First of all, we're going to start with the base. Light blue with a yellow logo right there. Very clean. The paint on there is nice. It doesn't look very scratched. A lot of times these bases, honestly, they come scratched. From what I see right now, very, very minor scratches, at least on mine. Hopefully I don't have any fingerprint smudging on there. A lot of us know by now, but we do have this system where we do remove this peg. It's not giving me any luck right now. You remove that peg, though. That's a foot peg. But you can replace it with this peg, which is a posable arm. There's a little bit of hair right there. And different ways to use it. Hinging here, clamping right here. All different stuff. You guys are pretty familiar with the stuff, even if you don't own a Mezco. Let's talk about the stuff that is pretty unique to this figure, though. First and foremost, alternate head right here. Kent Nelson head. Looking rather nice. Extremely nicely detailed with great paint. Variations of, it's like a light brown going into almost gray in his hair. With some variations of color in the skin tone, too. Just look at the wrinkles. You can definitely see there's paint in the wrinkles there. The eyes came out very nice. That's what the inside looks like. And this is just a really nicely done head sculpt. We have this hollow Dr. Fate helmet, which is really cool. He comes, of course, with the one packaged on him. It has a nice, it's pretty metallic. It's molded. Is it painted? I feel like it's molded like this, but whatever plastic they molded this in, it looks really good. I think there's minimal paint on this, honestly. If there is paint, then I'll eat my words. But it's really nice. And there is this option, which is this is used for the book. You can levitate it if you want to. With these right here, we get two of these, and they are identical. There are these clasps that go, this clasp around the arm, and it's these posable options right here, as you can see, with a ball joint and a hinge right there, so it can swivel. Because there's a little peg on this flat thing right here. Just do like so. Be very careful when you're articulating these. And voila, you have an option of him levitating his helmet. Now I have a little bit of paint that I have smeared, unfortunately, because he comes with this book that you can insert in here, like so. So he can levitate the book. Again, be careful with that. This book is super awesome with great details, with some nice gold paint. The brown looks like leather. This thing has real paper that opens up here. I want to say every page. And the characters may not be unique. There's reused hieroglyphics. But for me, right now, every single one of these pages is unique. And this is an absolutely stellar touch. Not much detail on the inside. Not going to blame it too much, though. That is lots of nice effort put into this. We do get a pair of small batteries, which I have no idea if you could buy some later. That's interesting. We do also have a Mezco bag, which is very standard. Some clear, translucent yellow effects pieces that you can also use with a different little clasp effects piece system here. They have a peg sticking out on these. And they look cool. It's just a translucent plastic, so they don't have much detail except layered plastic on this one here. You can see that, the actual sculpting there. So that looks really cool. And then, I forget what symbol this is supposed to be. If you wouldn't mind, let me know down in the comments. We get this one too. And this just looks extremely awesome. Last but not least, lots of hands. He comes packaged with fists. Every single one of these hands is going to have similar sculpting because, you know, there's the same pair of gloves. A little bit of variation in the gold. As you can see, a little bit darker around here on the back of the hand. And these hands right here are the middle finger and thumb touching. All these have really nice metallic gold paint. These are more clinched hands. A lot of these pretty much can be used for different types of poses with the spells or possibly relaxed hands. These are flat hands that are also used for spell casting. This is just super, super nice. They're not symmetrical, but that's fine. I think that's on purpose, which is cool. And then these are also spell casting, but also look more relaxed. So just lots and lots and lots of stuff with this guy. Now, first of all, let's talk about the removable head and light up system. It's a bit tricky, so bear with me. Popped off this head here. It says rotate counterclockwise to take this out, but I've been able to do it clockwise. Should be fine, just don't be too forceful. You will need to remove this piece right here with the more flat edge, and just very, very gently with your fingernails pry it open. I've already inserted the batteries in there. So what you do next, on and off switch is indicated on here. Flip this on, you can see it lights up here as well as lights up there. And you'll want to, I think you're going to want to put it in like this. So, I don't know, hopefully I'm doing it right. You're not going to be able to see the lights too well because I have just like two really big lights shining on this. Let me turn off the lights real quick. So there's a little bit of light shining in my room, but you can see just how bright this shines. The eyes are pretty bright. I don't know if I have the part for the chest aligned properly, but it's honestly, it is pretty nice and bright. I'll turn one light on just so you can get an idea again. It's a very nice system that they've done here, but it sacrifices the neck articulation, like I've said, because when you replace this whole system, as you can see in there, even though it's a little dark, it's an entire hollow piece going into the torso. So there is just no room, sadly, for head articulation. I do wish we got a separate piece that you could use for a neck hinge. But, I mean, who knows? A customizer might make that in the future. But, I mean, if I have to sacrifice, head articulation going up and down for cool light up features like this, I think it's fine. This figure deserves a 360 look. It is very nice looking, and there is a lot of great stuff going on here that I think that Mezco did a really good job with. First of all, let's talk about the head sculpt. I think that the head sculpt is pretty nice. I'm trying to focus up here. It is very similar to the other helmet. I believe it's molded in. Actually, it could be painted. I don't know, but I believe it might be molded in this gold, which the way it's molded looks fantastic. These eyes here are translucent, of course, as you saw earlier, so that way the light can shine through when you have the system on. And they did sculpt some hair and these ears right there, so that's really cool. I'm going over everything sculpted first. Actually, let's start here. So we do have a translucent piece for the chest right there. Now on mine, if you're looking here, it looks like it protrudes out a little too much. I don't know if it's supposed to be normal like that. It's a little concerning. It looks a little, not right center of his chest sometimes. But for the most part, it doesn't look too bad. They have this really interesting system here, where it's this is definitely plastic, but it's a little bit of a softer plastic. Definitely be careful with these pieces though, and it's pretty nicely painted in gold here. We do have some other pieces right there that's being covered by the fabric. The arms are sculpted with some variations of gold, which look great. All the nice details on the gauntlets. Now the peg right there does look a little bit of a different color from the rest of the gauntlet, but it's not too bad to me. It's not super duper distracting. This whole section here on the waist looks great too. With more variations of gold as well, with a lighter and darker gold. Similar system with the neck. These pieces are softer plastic that wrap around here. They could break, so be careful. Then we get down to the boots, which these also just look great. They have more darker gold than lighter gold. It's like almost an even ratio of how much they're using, whereas this is more, the gauntlets are more a little bit lighter. I think the waist also, but yeah, this just look at all that great detail going there, and on the top of the feet too. That looks awesome. That's what the bottom of the feet look like, with great treading. That is super great when it comes to the details. And this is what the back of the legs look like there too. This whole blue suit that they're using to cover the whole figure, it's a soft fabric. Of course, we know how Mezco does their stuff. They have all this fabric covering the figure. It's a nice stretchy spandex almost type of material. I think it's a pretty good color. There's not really any detail on it. It doesn't really need to be. Right here, and then we're going to talk about this in a second, but this is like a fake leather type of material, and it looks like it too. Now there's a little bit of extra, I would have to be very careful if I cut that off, a little bit of extra fabric though. Not too bad. That's what the back looks like. The trimming and the sewing looks really great. There isn't any extra stuff going on here. Sometimes it would bunch up really bad. It looks, I mean, the cape's going to cover it, that's fine, but it bunches up just a tiny bit on the back here. And the inside of the arms, I can't really tell. That sewing isn't too bad. Now let's talk about the cape. This cape has a bendy wire in it. It can bend around. You can do, it's not the strongest one, but it will get the job done when you want to do particular poses. And I think it's a better system than what they used to do. They used to give you these weird strings and clasps to pose the cape. It was weird. I didn't like it. So they integrated these bendy wires in the capes, and they look really nice. And it's a pretty big span that you can get out. That is just really cool. The back of this also has this leather material, as you can see, throughout the whole thing. And I believe it's painted in gold too. I'm afraid flaking might happen, where some of the paint will flake off. Hopefully that doesn't happen. The inside here, I don't know what to describe this as. It's definitely a different material, but it's almost like the inside of like my windbreaker. So that's actually really cool. It's actually kind of soft. And I believe these are also on the bendy wire, the little collar pieces here. So lots of great, integration of plastic as well as soft goods, just to make this figure look aesthetically pleasing and just a really cool looking figure, of course. Going over articulation, sometimes Mezcos are a little bit hindered because of the soft goods covering the figure, but mostly it's just honestly the head. It just rotates here. There's not much up and down, sadly. I can't tell if there is I don't think there's a butterfly joint. I want to say this may be using previous Batman body molds. We do get a little bit better articulation than, say, maybe the Joker body on here. A little bit of an upper thigh, or arm swivel, excuse me. We do have elbows to go all the way around in and out, of course. Double joint elbows there. Be careful with, possible bunching and creasing over time when you do keep this in certain poses, maybe. We have this swivel here at the wrist as well as a hinge. It's basically like like SH Figure Arts and McFarlane Toys do these. And they swivel at the actual hand too. And these hands are pretty easy to remove. They're a little bit of a softer plastic sometimes with the hands, so just keep that in mind. Still be careful with them though. Carefully with this chest piece, you can move it back that far, which could be fine. Forward like so, and a little bit side to side. We do get some rotation up in here. And I don't know about the actual waist, but we do get ab articulation up there that actually does go really nicely. We do have legs that go forward, back sort of, in and out. We do have upper thigh swivels as well there. And we do get double joint knees. They're a little bit, but not really a lot. I don't think actual dedicated articulation for a boot swivel, but we do have be very careful with the feet. Swivel at the feet here, which can sort of hinge, and then up and down is actually not too bad. Doesn't seem like a super crazy articulated figure, but you can get them into pretty much any pose you want. It's very decent articulation, and of course you can pose at different parts of the figure, not just the actual sculpt of the the body mold and whatnot. You can pose the cape around, as you can see there. So for some quick size comparisons, on the right we have the Mezco 112 Sovereign Knight Batman, which, excluding the ears, I believe it's actually a little bit shorter than Dr. Fate. And on the left we have a Marvel Legends MCU Shang-Chi, which Marvel Legends are going to run a little bit shorter than Mezco figures, but they'll fit pretty well and scale each other. Now for Star Wars the Black Series, they have Bo-Katan, which Bo-Katan runs a little bit shorter than regular size Black Series, so you can see just how short that line is compared to Mezco's. And then on the right, we have a standard size NECA figure, which is actually a little bit taller than the standard size NECA figure. That's a T800 Police Station Assault figure. So I'll admit it, I think Mezco did an absolutely fantastic job. They knocked it out of the park with this figure. The biggest issue, though, is just the head articulation. You can't move it up and down because of the light-up system, but it is a really cool system that they have implemented. My only other complaint is that I think with my particular figure, I think the chest is, the place where it glows, I think it's protruding just a little too much out of the body. That could just be mine, though, or it could be normal. I don't really know. You're not going to really tell too much when you're doing different poses with this guy. You're doing toy photography. Lots of great stuff with this figure. All the fabric pieces on here are very clean. I think the bendy wire could be a little bit stronger, but you could generally get it into some pretty good poses in the bendy wire and whatnot. The sculpted pieces are really nice, especially all the head sculpts, and just a lot of great accessories. Different hands, effects pieces, different accessories just for the character here. Overall, it is really nice, and it has great articulation, besides the head, of course, to boot. This figure is not cheap. I got mine after using a promo code on a website called ToyShnips for about $115 after shipping. I feel like that's about close to what other people paid if they went to like Big Bad Toy Store or Mezco online. This thing has been sold out for a while, though. I got very lucky because they only had 5 of those on that retailer. So you may have to resort to the secondary market, sadly, unless they announce some type of restock. Hopefully they would, because this is a very nice figure. Thank you guys very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I will see you guys later.